Hey guys, so today I thought I'd teach you a little bit about how I make puns and how I can come up with puns really quickly, because I did that today, and I thought you might want to know some tips and tricks I've come up with. So here we go. I'm not going to write you a song about it, I'm just using this as an example of something I could make puns about. You see, I don't want you to have to fret about coming up with good puns because it's really easy if you can just string them all along and then pretty soon you'll be up to your neck in puns. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you to fender for yourself. I'll be here to help you out. In fact, it'll be so easy that you'll be doing it all the time. It'll just be a breeze. You'll take D words and you'll just say, well, G. This will be easier than I thought. And you know, I'd make a higher form of comedy there with a higher E, but I'm missing an E string. It's kind of broken right now. And don't worry, these bad puns that you get are not the only things that are going to be in this video. I'm going to include a full lesson plan, but for now, if you're just tuning in, I thought I'd give you an update. Anyway, enough of this. Perhaps we can pick up where we left off later with all these puns, but I'd like to get into the lesson. So yeah, how I make puns. This is going to be a two-part video, so well, I mean 3 parts because you just had that first part. Anyway, this first part I'll be explaining how you make the puns. Second part will be me explaining why. So how you do it. It's a fairly simple, I'll just go through the steps. Step 1 is find an object you want to make puns about, right? Step 2 is to realize that not all the puns have to be good, you just have to have a lot of them so that some of them seem funny. Step 3 is to come up with a list of words to do with that object, and once you get good, you'll be able to make up a pun with each word right away as you think of it. So, like with that guitar example I had, I came up with the words neck, pickup, string, and then of course all the letters that were each of the string notes, things like that. And then step 5, I don't remember what step I'm on. Step whatever's next is to come up with puns out of those words. And now that might seem hard, but the thing you have to realize is that almost any word can be made into a pun. And there are a few ways to make it easier to do that. So, what I recommend is first of all going with anything easy, so if it's a word that already has a double meaning. Like in mine, the word tune had a slightly different meaning, so I just used it in that other way. Also the word fend, or which I used as fender, which is the type of guitar I had, I use that in a slightly different way, and that brings me to my second point, which is that you don't have to use the entire word. Like right there, I just said fender for yourself. That doesn't make any sense. That's not perfect. But it doesn't really matter because I came up with it pretty quickly. So you can just ignore things like at the end of the word, like the sound like I just did. And then also most words sound pretty close to some other words. Like I can just look around and name objects like paper. That sounds like pay for. Light. Now that's already a pun on its own. This isn't very heavy, it's pretty light. So yeah, once you've come up with the other word it can be, then you just have to figure out how to set that up. And now that's the real tricky part. And that just takes a lot of practice. It's not that hard. Really, all you gotta do is just realize that no matter how obscure the way you want to use it is, you can always set it up and no one's gonna care because you're just making things up on the spot. So yeah, if you want to use these puns in conversations, you just gotta not be afraid to go for the crazy setups. Like I'm gonna make one up on the spot right now. I've got a coaster over there with a drink on it. So, coaster. First thing I think of is like a roller coaster. Maybe I could do something like that. Or I could do something with like the coast, like, okay, hey, San Diego, you know, I live by the coast or something. I just came up with that. Do you see how bad it was? Why are you listening to me? I'm awful at this. So yeah, to review. Step 1 is find your object. Step 2 is to come up with a list of words to do with that object. Step 3 is to figure out how you can use them. Step 4 is to figure out how to set up those ways that you can use them. And then step 5 is to use them and not care what anyone else thinks. Because if you do enough of them, eventually something will be funny. Alright, so that's part 2 of this video. Now on to part 3. So I said that part 3 was going to be how this is useful. So the way this skill of being able to come up with puns for just about anything is really useful is you're never going to need it. It's completely useless. Why did I, it's just, don't, okay, bye.